Welcome to the December 2022 edition of the STARFLEET News Service. I'm Ensign Anne-Marie.
And I'm Lieutenant Jess of the USS Andromeda.
And on today's episode, we are going to have a feature on the SyFy Bartow, a short segment on Star Trek Adventure, and an Andorian makeup tutorial. But first, I'm going to turn it over to the Fleet Captain, Aaron Poole, for the second installment of our StarFleet election coverage with the CS elect and the VCS elect.
Hey. Yeah, there's David. Hey, David, what's up?
There we go. Good. How are you?
So I got some easy questions for you today. I
Okay.
promise. Okay. It's nice to see you, by the way.
Thank you.
What work have you been doing these last few weeks to make your transition as seamless as possible?
We've actually been doing quite a bit as far as transition goes. Currently, we've been communicating with the current EC members. We have a transition Facebook chat where we've been discussing back and forth and collecting all the information that we can. We are going to be meeting with the CFO. We saved the best for last on that so that we could talk with everybody else as we go and talk to our local Ferengi. We have been working super hard on our social media transition. On the HR site, we're currently seeking a social media director to help us coordinate all of that. We have been given access to the Facebook groups and Facebook chats. And come January 1, we will be doing some mod and admin changes. Currently, in regards to the Discord server, we've requested ownership 4 or 5 times with no communication from the current owner. I have been given admin access, so that's progress, but we do look forward to that being turned over. Twitter ownership is pending action from the current CS. YouTube ownership is pending action from the current owner. News from last night's After Dark, Fleet Admiral Parmley stated that After Dark will be moving off of the SFI servers and onto a private, non-branded set of showings, to which they will announce soon. I believe that they have one more show under the current administration, and then they will be making that move. Promotions of this particular program, Starfleet News, are going to take a role to as far as our primary interactive point. There will be new productions to be announced in January, focusing on the core values that we ran on, as well as some added Q&A elements. Other projects that we have been working on is we've created a corporate calendar. That calendar is currently being shared amongst the entire ECAB. They have access to it to where they can see when the meetings are scheduled for them, where my schedule is going to be, my accessibility, and other meetings such as Starfleet News and things that are upcoming. Let's see, what else? SFI org emails. Currently, we are in the process of transitioning all of the emails to IMAP boxes. What we have found is that anytime we forward these emails off, we are not creating archives. So we are not keeping a record of the communications that are going back and forth, and we really want to have that happen. So we are going to be migrating the majority of those. That also includes the 2 AB lists, the EC list, and a new ECAB list that will all be SFI branded and archived through our servers. We have been in contact with the current COS for transition information, such as the current org chart. And as of a couple of hours ago, I've had no response. So we have taken it upon ourselves to modify the org chart from 2001. We do look forward to his communication whenever he's ready to communicate with us, and hope that is very soon. As far as comp ops, We are transitioning web functions to the Corps of Engineers. It's going to be a collaborative effort to allow for the focus to shift away from the tedious to the more immediate needs. And these needs basically are the database, email migration, and the creation of the new print-on-demand system for members, chapters, regional access for new products and services. This hub will be a collaborative effort between CompOps and the SyFy Quartermaster. We really look forward to seeing new products and new things that we can deliver that the individuals can order, that whether it be the regional chapter or the individual member.
David, that was a lot of information. I think that, and I'm grateful for that, but I think you're going to answer a lot in my next question with that answer. But
yeah,
what will your top 3 priorities be in your first 90 days of CS?
Yeah, our main 3 priorities, and these are in no particular order. First and foremost in my mind is making sure that the new EC Department of Membership Services, as well as the revamping and restructuring of the Communications Department, are going to be a priority. The database up, running, or replaced, which we have said throughout our campaign is going to be a biggie. We have been made promises to, all of us have been made promises to, and we want them to be held up. The multiple conversations that I have had with CompOps says that we are going to see something at the end of this year. And that's just a few weeks away, and I'm very excited to see what that is. The last and foremost, and this is for all of the new staff, including myself and Ryan, our focus is going to be to listen, learn, and do as much as we can to create as much fun as possible. So far, as I've said and listed all of this stuff, I have been personally having just absolute fun trying to figure out where we're going to go and how we're going to take this into the future. And I know that fun is one of the biggest elements. So listening and learning is going to be a huge part of it as well.
So there are a lot of new positions posted on HR. And
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that all these positions are going up. I think that's awesome. It gets rid of the buddy system. But what qualities are you looking for when people are applying?
So, simply put, we are looking for talented, dedicated persons, new and existing, to fill all of our volunteer posts with minimal SyFy qualifications. For example, OTS, OCC, SFDPP. There may be other qualifications that we're going to add into the posts. For example, command experience. And it could be varying combinations of all of these. Our main priority, in order, is going to be talent, drive, and diversity. These are our key words for any new posts that are coming in. And just so that we're clear, we are not filling any sort of a quota. We want these positions filled based off of the work that they do. Now is the time to set up and to see to step up and see what you can do for SyFy on a global level. We look forward to presentations coming from the DAS in regards to new leadership in the auxiliaries. And just as a reminder, any comments, because I have been getting a few personally, any comments, suggestions on any one of these posts should be directed at the DAS, not at myself or Ryan. He is the one that is going to make the ultimate presentation, and that's where we want it to go.
Okay, that's good to know. And I think that that's going to give a lot of people a shot that might not think that they had a shot at getting one of these roles.
Right. And we want those people. We want new talent. So please step up, no matter who you are.
So I heard that you went and visited an active volcano this week. And I know you sent something that I haven't seen yet in about this, but I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that, because it sounds awesome.
Yeah. It truly was an eye-opening experience. I had seen something very similar when I went in the early 90s as a younger person. But this time it was a little bit different. After I've grown up a bit and have learned a few more things in life, it really does put you into a mindset, into a perspective that all of the drama that we deal with, whether it's in fleet in our personal lives, is nothing compared to watching the earth create itself. It is absolutely spectacular. The montage, the slideshow that I put together that they're going to show later really does give you a good opportunity to see. Some of the photos are mine. Some of them are from classmates. Some of them are branded photos, but they are absolutely spectacular. And it's something that we should all be respectful of going forward, that, the earth creates itself, and it's in no small feat, and it's very spectacular.
Is the traffic as bad as they are reporting on the news that it is?
When we went, it wasn't. We went for the most part during the day, at least up to a little place that's up there called Hulu Hulu. It's a little tiny cinder cone that's there where you can see everything. There were one or two cars. Most of it is seeable better in the evening. So that's when it does get crowded, but they have most of the roads blocked off, or at least the shoulders. And they have places that are safe that you can go and watch. The better viewing, at least for me in the evening, which was close to where I was staying, was at the Volcano House, which is next to the Kilauea volcano. And you could see it off in the distance, and it was very spectacular, even from a distance.
Well, David, that's awesome. I can't wait to see your presentation later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please come back. And now I'm going to ask similar questions, not all the same, to Ryan Case, who is our new Vice Commander of Starfleet. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how's it going here?
It's going. How you doing?
I just watched David take all of my talking points. It was pretty great.
Oh, no. I mean, I can come up with new questions if you want.
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So maybe we can make this more specific to you rather than like your team, if that helps. But
That's fine.
what have you been doing these last few weeks to make this transition as seamless as possible? I know you'd probably have to work with James Herring quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he and I have we've reached out and spoken to one another. It's been kind of spotty because my schedule during the day does not align with his nighttime schedule. So it's been like I'll send a message and I know that it's going to be several hours. That being said, he's been very helpful. He's sending me over a number of template documents, number of like old agendas, things like that. Some of the graphics that he's been using, I'm anxious to kind of get a hold of. Otherwise, as far as just like personal work that I've been doing, me and David have been meeting noon on Wednesdays, and we talk for about an hour and a half about the various things that we need to accomplish before the next call. We're talking weekly right now. That being said, I've put together, I was part of the group putting together the corporate calendar. I was the one putting together a number of the agenda templates, several of the minute templates. I'm getting ready to reach out to some other members. I've been kind of still building my staff. I have a chief of staff and frankly, not much else. I've been involved with a lot of the talks that David's had with a number of the EC members and some of the auxiliaries, trying to help with trying to figure out which of these applications that have come in so far, are we thinking, the best candidate available. And, honestly, just trying to get my feet under me. I made a lot of promises during the election that I intend to keep, and I'm just trying to stay mindful of them. Speaking of that, I've created a sheet of, just sitting down with my chief of staff and David and wrote out, this is what I said I'd do. How are we going to accomplish this? How are we going to get there? And it's just helpful reminders so that nothing slips through the cracks. I intend to keep every promise I made.
I'm going to skip ahead a question and then kind of backtrack because of what you just said. I know that you made this campaign promise where you were talking about for the VCS role, you were going to do something with command status reports, meeting agendas, getting it out to the membership. Can you state for us now exactly what that promise was and what steps you are going to do to keep that?
Yeah, as far as the command status reports, having them, know every member should know when they're coming out. I've talked with David. I'm looking at the 5th of every month. I don't have a hard date, but once I have a hard date, the entire membership will know. But our command status reports will revert to the command status report. I know James and Steve were very particular about loving their name for it, and just not a fan. I just like the SR version of documents when it comes to reporting. But that being said, making sure that they are ready to go the day that they are due, and everybody know where they're going to be posted. I intend to make sure that they go out on the various web pages that they need to be posted to, Facebook groups, the Discord, but all will point back to our website. Everything will basically be a link to that. Beyond the actual status report, then I've got AB and EC meetings. I've made a promise to the Admiralty Board prior to leaving it. I leave it, January 1, I leave the Admiralty Board. And James Herring is not to blame here. Don't think that's not what I'm saying. It has been this way as long. I've been a member of it for 8 years now, and it's been the same, getting agendas for the meetings you're about to have the morning of the day you're going to have it, having no clue what's coming, sometimes just a few hours before. I will admit, James tends to get his out a day before. I intend to get them out at least 2 weeks to a month before, because it's silly. We know what we're going to talk about. We know what we need to talk about. We have old and new business and all of that, and combine that with time to allow the Admiralty Board and subsequently the EC, when we have those monthly EC meetings, the ability to add something to it and actually, put it on there. With the time allotted, a lot of the times it's been frustrating to try and deal with, and I intend to stay on top of it. That being said, on the back end, it also comes with minutes, and not just, I intend to write the minutes. I intend to get the minutes back to the Admiralty Board so that they can see them. We can make edits and not see them for the first time approximately a week or less before the meeting to vote on approval. Once they're voted for approval, we can do that over our email systems that David was recently talking about in our group emails. Once those are okayed, they can be posted to the website and can be posted about similar to the CSR on all of the various communication channels in Fleet. Membership should see these. They should see every vote that the AB takes and every action that the EC takes and brings forward to them. It's silly that, during the entire election process that we've been doing since, June, July, I got asked the question of, the membership doesn't know, they don't understand, they don't know what's going on. And like, it shouldn't be that way. I'll admit, frankly, I forget that every member doesn't just know, because I just happen to know from being a member of the Admiralty Board. But my voice only traveled so far. But now as the VCS, I intend to, apply a megaphone to it and just make sure that everybody knows. Another thing that David and I have talked about and have kind of passed over with the AB and have talked with, in our first meeting with them, is that we intend to have more open meetings. It won't be all. There are still certain executive session stuff that involve, the organizational side of stuff. But by and large, we intend to open those up so that the general membership can not necessarily participate, but can certainly watch.
So I did ask David this question. I'd like you to answer a little bit differently, though. I want to know, with you and your new chief of staff, what are your top 3 priorities going to be in your first 90 days?
My number one priority is just making sure that we keep Tony honest. And I know it sounds like I'm throwing Tony under the bus. And sorry, Tony, if you're watching this or see this later. Just getting the database out, making sure that it's something meaningful. When David and I first met and talked about it, I mentioned, if it's not in place by the time we take office, we've got 30 days and I'm going to pull the plug and try something else. I'm the one with the plan B. David wholeheartedly fell in with it. And if what we see out of the new database isn't there, I'm going to be the one pretty much leading that charge. Otherwise, that's my number one priority by and large. Number 2 is making sure that my staff and the various staff across the org working with the DAS to get all of these positions filled. I want on-fire members working for the organization. I want people that I can trust, that when I put them in a position, they'll do it, and I don't have to look back in 2 weeks and realize nothing's been done. And, kind of finally is making sure that a lot of the branding stuff that I touted gets worked on. It's one of the reasons I got super involved with the Corps of Engineers, was making sure that we can have a visual standard. Like they designed our logo right here for our Commander-elect logo.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, they did an incredible, like, this is the quality of work that our membership can do. We can do more. Like, I'm very excited by them, and getting a lot of that out to the membership, that's going to be more of a long-term, over the course of the 3 years priority, but it's going to remain a priority. The database is a do it now, do it quick, get it done, and it'll disappear from my priorities once it's out there and done properly.
That's awesome. And just so everyone knows, Ryan and I work together heavily with the Corps of Engineers, and if you need a vector image, you can submit a request for one, and the Corps of Engineers will put it in the workflow, and it'll be high quality like the one you're seeing behind Ryan.
I don't actually remember the timeline, but David asked for this, and I want to say 2 weeks, maybe a little longer. They had thrown something pretty close to this together, and they just tweaked it a little bit. Like this logo is incredible.
Yeah, it's striking. It's beautiful. Ryan, thank you for your time today. It was nice seeing you.
Anytime.
We don't get to talk much anymore because you're busy.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good. It's for
if you want me on here again, just let me know.
And next month.
Awesome.
Give us an update.
Cool.
All right. I'm gonna give it back to Jess.
Perfect. Bye. Thank you so much, Aaron, and to our Commander and Vice Commander-elects for those wonderful interviews. Next, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about SyFy Bartow. So for the past 10 years, this event has been a free science fiction street festival in downtown Bartow, Florida, and the next SyFy Bartow will be taking place on Saturday, February 18th. Last year, we had 4 Starfleet International chapters present: the USS Haven, the USS Russell Camp III, the USS Amelia Earhart, and the USS Avenger. For the 10th year celebration, Captain Drew and the crew of the USS Russell Camp III have partnered with the convention team to make this a year to remember, and we will have a large fleet presence. This year, members from Starfleet International are working with the Klingon Assault Group to make a large display, including this full-size replica transporter, which is made by Captain Drew from the USS Russell Camp III and Mike from the USS Amelia Earhart. This year's SyFy Bartow theme is to boldly go, and Starfleet International's display will be located next to the main stage. Klingon Assault Group is also building a bar, and I'm going to be there mixing up some fun as a Ferengi bartender, so be sure to stop by. In addition to all this fun, this year's SyFy Bartow will also be advocating for numerous charity organizations. Klingon Assault Group will be collecting for their annual end-of-year food drive, and the crews from Starfleet International will be raising funds for local assistance for homeless veterans, which this organization has helped over 187 local veterans find housing, and also the Special Olympics, which is the world's largest sports organization for children and adults with intellectual disabilities and physical disabilities. So if you plan on being in or around Central Florida this upcoming February 18th, be sure to check out SyFy Bartow and help Starfleet International support these charitable causes, and also have a really great time. And next, Anne-Marie will be discussing Star Trek Adventures, so stay tuned.
For our next segment, we're going to take a look at the tabletop role-playing game, Star Trek Adventures. First, we have a short video from the USS Corsairs with a high-level overview of the game.
Greetings, traveler. I am your dungeon master. Oh. Wait. Wrong genre. That's better. The USS Corsair is currently playing Star Trek Adventures, which is a tabletop role-playing game that is published by Modiphius Entertainment of London, England. The role-playing game uses a 2D20 system, which is a dynamic narrative system designed to produce varied and interesting results from traumatic and action-packed situations. just as some of our players. Characters roll 2 20-sided dice, attempting to roll as low as possible on each one. The more dice that roll low, the more success the character scores. Since members are spread out, we use a website called Roll20. It is a website that consists of a set of tools for playing tabletop role-playing games, also referred to as a virtual tabletop, which can be used as an aid to playing in person and remotely online. The Course Hero has been playing since April of 2018, and adventures have ranged from thwarting a galactic takeover to defeating space tardigrades which stumble into a space station. Sessions are usually held the first Saturday of each month, with follow-up sessions as needed. New players should contact ahead of time to help learn how the game and Roll20 works. Hope to see you all as part of the role-playing crew soon. Thank you and have fun.
Next, I'd like to welcome Captain Rob Honeycutt to talk a little bit more in depth about the Star Trek adventure. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. So, what does a person need in order to play Star Trek Adventure? Do you need a certain amount of people to play?
So to get the most out of your first group experience, I would suggest the starter kit, which is actually currently sold out from Modifius. It looks like this. Says starter set down at the bottom. You may be able to get it resale or something like that right now, but I know it's sold out on the Modifius site. But that comes with a starter rule book, which has like the starter rules for playing your first couple of easy games. It has a campaign booklet that has different pre-written campaigns that you can play through. It has 6 character sheets with different, like this is a medical officer. Sorry, it's out of focus a little bit there. But they have everything, chief of security. They even have a ship because you can play as a ship. Oh, see my wife there in a little bit in there. And so... so sorry that doesn't come through right. Of course it doesn't because it's not a person. So, but yeah, it has the campaign booklet has several different pre-written campaigns you can play through. You have 6 character sheets. You have 2 20-sided dice, and you have 4 custom 6-sided dice. Now, of course, these are going to be hard to see, but they have like a 1 and a 2, the Star Trek symbol on 2 different sides, and they rolling different things means different things, different results in the game. So you've got several of those dice to roll with, and it comes with some of the tokens that you need for different things in some of the starter campaigns. So you could do it without this. They have, in fact, PDFs of character sheets and PDFs of adventures and stuff that are available, some of them for free, some of them paid, on the Modifius site. So you can go right to there and you can download the PDFs they have for free, and start with that and make your own tokens and make your own character sheets or use some of their pre-generated character sheets and stuff like that. But for the full experience, if you were just trying to get a group together and trying to get them to stick around, I would suggest the actual, printed copies of the nice color rule book and the nice maps and stuff. They have different maps like for sick bay and let's see, there we go, sick bay and some different areas of the ship to use in the adventures. So that's kind of nice. You don't need a certain number of people to play per se. You at least need one person to run as the game master. That would be what Ed was doing just a second ago. You need one person to run the game, so they're going to be like rolling dice for the bad guys, introducing the campaign, walking you through the campaign, listening to your decisions and advancing the campaign and that sort of thing. And then you probably need at least 2 people, I would say minimum, that want to play through that certain story, and it's kind of the more the merrier. It's if you've got several people that want to play through, most of the campaigns have a mode where if there's multiple people you can play that way. If there's only a few people, it adjusts for that within the campaign. then the game is nice in that you can make it as simple or in depth as you want as you learn the rules. Like, you don't have to use all these tokens on the first time. You can modify things and modify, the game master can modify the characters and stuff in such a way that you don't have to worry about your stress levels, or you don't have to worry, or about your traits or your talents or these things until you get more used to the game, and you can, go through it and learn more about it, and just gets more in depth and more fun as you play.
Wow. So, talking about characters, what kind of characters can you be in the Star Trek adventures? And how does that choice affect you?
So when it first started, this kind of started as a Kickstarter, which is something I was going to mention in a little bit, but it started as a base game that had just a few characters and a few campaigns, and they were expecting players to build on that and to come out with more campaigns, and they come out with more campaigns and different playable races and characters, and the players did just that. You can play with almost every I've seen characters from almost everything in Star Trek, from Klingons to Romulans, Tellarites, Andorians. I mean, it's all in there. There's even, if you go to Modiphius's website, there's a character sheet you can download for a playable Tribble. So there you can pretty much play as any character that you remember from the Star Trek universe. Somebody has rolled a character or set up a character already in order to take advantage of their specific traits and that sort of thing. So specifically, when you say how does your choice of character affect the overall gameplay, that's what you're talking about. So your choice of character is going to affect the gameplay with the way that they interact with certain situations in the story. The characters have attributes and disciplines that fit their role, and some will be better than others at certain tasks. So, like, say you're playing the next gen crew, for example, and you have Worf and you have Crusher on an away mission, and someone needs to have a wound healed. Well, you're going to pick Beverly Crusher to do that because she's going to have higher stats in science and medicine, and you have to roll against those stats whenever you roll the dice. And so you would have a better chance if you have Beverly try to heal the person than if you have Worf try to heal the person, because she has better stats in those things. So each character is different in such a way that they're better equipped to handle a certain situation. Of course, on the flip side, if you needed somebody for combat, then you're going to choose Worf over Crusher because he has higher stats in daring and control and things that would help him do better in battle.
Wow, that's so much. So, as someone who's never played a game and is really new to the tabletop role playing, can you describe to me what goes on in an average Star Trek adventure session?
Sure, absolutely. So during the average session, whoever has chosen as the game master role is going to read out the beginning of the story. All of these campaigns that come in this, oh man, it's huge. Come in this starter campaign booklet. They have, let's see, let me just flip to one right here. So they have this. I'll just flip to the first one. They have this one called the Alcubierre. And you go through, and it starts out with introduction, and the player characters receive an urgent assignment from Starfleet Command: recover the USS Alcubierre, a science vessel that was testing an experimental engine system designed to exceed warp 5 without damaging subspace, et cetera, et cetera. So the game master has the role of reading out those situations to the characters. Maybe you're on an away mission, maybe you're in a situation that's happening on the ship, etc. And then they present the characters with a choice. It gets to a point where the characters need to choose what they want to do, and then the choices that the characters will make, the choices that the characters make will then shape how the story progresses. The campaign has multiple lines to follow depending on what choices the characters make. So the people that have written the campaigns have gone through and thought, okay, well, what if the characters want to do this? What if the characters decide all of a sudden they want to go to engineering and shut down the warp core? What if they decide they want to all go to the sick bay and see what's going on there? And the campaign will allow for that, and the game master can allow for that in order to shape the story around the choices that the characters make. So that's where the real fun is. It's all based on the decision of the players. So the players have to roll the dice for their different situations, and of course, depending on the dice roll, that determines their success in whatever they're trying to do. So that's basically how the game progresses. And then the campaign is written in such a way to have an end. So as the characters make their way through the campaign, they'll make choices and stuff, but those choices, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure book, right? It's eventually either going to get to a happy ending or a bad ending or some sort of ending. So, and it's all dependent on those choices that the characters make, how the roles turn out, and how that particular campaign is set to progress.
Wow. So that's an overview of the game, but how did you personally get into Star Trek Adventures, and what do you like compared to, other roll top games?
So like I said earlier, this started as a Kickstarter with Modifius. They were trying to get backing for it, and they offered just the starter set, and they offered some PDFs, and they had at one point they had this Borg cube that if you donated at least $500 to it, you got the Borg cube to keep it in with all of the different sections in the Borg cube for where to put your dice and where to put all of your stuff. And I've helped kickstart like at least a dozen projects. I'm kind of a big Kickstarter fan. And of course, this is one that caught my eye. I've been playing tabletop RPGs since the 90s, starting with Dungeons and Dragons 2.0. We used to get together at my house once a week, every Wednesday afternoon when I was still in school, and we would play through Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and stuff like that. And I love the worlds that can be created with just a pen and paper. Like it's so cool using your imagination and using and seeing how everyone else's imagination helps to shape the story that everyone's trying to progress through. And actually recently Dungeons and Dragons has been merging worlds. They're both owned by Hasbro, so they've been merging worlds with one of my other favorite games, which is Magic the Gathering. So that's kind of been amazing to see the astral planes from Magic come to life in D&D campaigns where you can actually play as characters from the MTG world and play through the stories and stuff that you read about in the books, because Magic has books that come out with their lore and everything, so you can actually play through that as characters. So to see that happen with my favorite IP, which is Star Trek, and having the ability to play those stories in any timeline with any race has just been amazing. You could recreate any of the books, the Star Trek books. You could recreate any of the episodes, any of the movies from any of the genres, and you could play through that as if you're actually there on Deep Space Nine, or if you're actually there on Cardassia or in the wormhole or anywhere, and it's all up to the game master, and it's all up to the imagination of the players. So that's been what really tied me into it.
Well, I'm just gonna say it makes me talking to you makes me want to go and play it, and so I want to thank you for that.
Of course.
And thank you so much for this lovely interview, and thank you so much for your time.
I did want to just promote the scholarship program for just a second. They said they'd allow me to do that in the segment. So I just want to mention here in just about 3 weeks on January 1st, we have the scholarship application process opening for the 2023 year. So it runs from January 1st to June 15th. And we had some amazing applications last year. The CS and everybody has really been on board with getting the scholarship process sort of streamlined and helping make sure that I have access to the things that I need access to, and having the website updated and that kind of stuff. So I'm expecting that to continue into the Nottage case administration, because I know that Ryan is a big proponent of the scholarships, and we've talked at length about the scholarships on multiple occasions. So I'm really excited to work with the new administration getting the scholarship stuff done. So I'm getting the new application ready and sending that over to membership services to get the website updated. And we've got, I just wanted to remind everybody that we've got 5 scholarships available for SFI members. And remember, last year we added 2 new scholarships that are for non-SFI members. So if you know anybody, even if they're not an SFI member, if they're going to college and they meet the requirements for or trade school or anywhere that accepts financial aid, and they meet the requirements for the scholarship, I would definitely have them apply for that. And I'm glad to have heard David Nottage earlier talking about moving the email servers, because that's been the kind of the bane of my existence ever since I've been doing this. The emails have just been getting caught up in the system or not coming through right, or whatever. And I'm really excited to have everything streamlined and working, and to see these new applications that are coming in 2023. So.
Well, that's great and wonderful. And thank you so much for not only the Star Trek adventure, but with the scholarship as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a blast.
It was a blast for me as well. So next, we're going to dive into a cool blue Andorian makeup with Lieutenant Jess.
Hey everyone, so I'm back with an Andorian makeup conversation. So if you're thinking about cosplaying an Andorian, I'm sure the first thing you notice is their blue skin, and you're going to want to replicate that. So the first thing that's going to come to mind is makeup. So in order to get that right shade of blue, you're going to want to pick a high quality makeup that's going to stay on all day. And for this, I really recommend using a water activated paint. I have here, it's Mayron Paradise paint. This is my favorite. It has coconut oil in it, so it's not quite as harsh on your skin. It goes on with water, and it stays on pretty well. All you need is a cup of water and a soft bristled paintbrush or a wedge makeup applicator sponge. You mix the paint palette with water, get it into a paste. It goes right on, and then once you let it dry, you're going to want to set it. And to set it, you can use either a setting spray from the makeup store or setting powder. I have color set powder here. It is colorless, but you could also use baby powder. If you're on a budget, it works just as well. So it's really great for your face, but then you're left with your hands, which you very well could use that makeup on your hands. I recommend not painting the palm though, because your palms tend to get a little sweaty, and it's water activated paint. Once it gets wet again, it's going to come off, and no one wants to see all their buddies with blue handprints all over them all day. You know, we all work very hard on our costumes, so you want to make sure you're not leaving fingerprints everywhere. But another great way to avoid that is with an arm sock. So I have one here, and you can either buy blue gloves or blue arm socks, or you can buy stockings and make your own by making a cardboard cutout of your hand and then sewing all the way around it. And the reason I really like stocking material for this is because while your hand is in it, you can still use your data pad just fine. And if you want to add even more dimension to your arm sock or your glove, you can buy fake press-on nails. I have some blue ones here. These have adhesive on the back. Once you have your glove on, you peel off the adhesive, stick the nail on, and it looks like you have fingernails on your fake hand. It's really quite cool. So now that you're blue, what's the next thing that an Andorian has? Antenna. So in order to make my antennas, I bought one of those headbands that has the little springs on them with like some kind of festive thing on the end. And I took foam clay and I sculpted the antenna onto the spring, leaving just a little bit of the spring free so that the antenna can actually wiggle a little bit while I'm wearing it. So while you walk, it'll move a little bit, which I think is really cute. And another way that you can make these antenna is you can actually find a pattern to 3D print them. So you can take a 3D printed antenna and put it on either a headband, or you could also glue it onto a hair clip and clip it onto your hair. So that's a really great way to make your antenna. And like I said, I used forming foam clay. It's essentially a clay that is really lightweight and a little flexible. It's air dry forming foam clay, which when it dries, it's a little soft and flexible. That way, if you do drop your headband, it won't break. And it's also very lightweight. So on the top of your head, it's not going to be moving around too much. So then now that you have your antenna, you're going to want to paint them. With the foam clay, you can actually use your makeup as long as it's a makeup that dries right onto the foam. Or if it's 3D printed or plastic or another sort of material like that, you're going to want to put a primer and then maybe use some craft paint on there mixed to a similar color to your makeup. So then you've got your makeup, you've got your antenna. The last thing is going to be your costume. So for mine, I'm actually trying to replicate Jennifer from Lower Deck. So I have this gray wig here that I put into a ponytail. So what I'm going to do is I will put the antenna onto the wig. And then once it's on my head, I'm going to use these pieces to hide the headband with the hair so that all you can see are the little antenna. And you can also do that with your natural hair, or you can do whatever color hair you'd like. I think an Andorian can have any color hair, so you can absolutely get creative. And the same thing applies to the costume. You can use your Starfleet uniform, You can do a more traditional Andorian outfit like Shran from Star Trek Enterprise, have lots of black and navy green and leather. And of course, you can always either make this from home, or you can go out and find pieces from thrift stores, secondhand, garage sales. There's all kinds of ways to really put your costume together. And I hope this is helpful for someone who's looking for a place to start in making their own Andorian cosplay. So thank you so much. And next we're going to go into our news from around Starfleet. So first, our awards committee apologized for the few complications, but our awards have gone out and everyone should have their awards now. And if you don't, please contact your regional coordinator. Next, Region 1 is having an ugly holiday sweater contest. If you're interested in joining, please reach out to Region 1 staff for an invitation. This event is open to the public. The USS Sandwich will be commissioning on December 27th, so congratulations to this new ship in our fleet. And the crew of the Grand Petoskey recently attended the Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Michigan. In addition to not only having a great time, as you can see here, they managed to raise over $1,100 for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Great job, you guys. And now, Admiral David Nottage, a resident of Hawaii, prepared a short video for us regarding his latest trip to visit the active volcanoes in the region.
Ana uno ho'io ni ho'okahila Kay pela okau Wahikino oea ehelena Me kay pumanu Ana uno ho'io ni ho'okahila Kay pela okau Kuhina ka popopula ai ai ka elenu Ana uno ho'i e ka velene ila Ko ka ama ami ami Kuhina ka popopula ai ai ka elenu Ana una ho'i e ka velenu hila Ko ka hama ami ami hele pela Ana uno ho'ia ni ho'okahila
Thank you so much, Admiral, for those amazing images. It looks like it is quite the spectacular sight. And next we have some images from stellar cartography. So first, we have some towering tendrils of cosmic dust and gas which are sitting at the heart of M16, or the Eagle Nebula. These are images from NASA. And next we have a combined image of both the iconic pillars of creation, which is from 2 cameras aboard NASA's James Webb Space Telescope. The universe has been formed in its infrared glory with Webb's near-infrared image, which was fused with its mid-infrared image, setting this star-forming region ablaze with new details. Now this image from Mike Calhoun shows the Orion Nebula, also known as Messier 42, which is a diffuse nebula situated in the Milky Way, being south of Orion's belt in the constellation of Orion. Is one of the biggest nebula and is visible to the naked eye in the night sky with an apparent magnitude of 4.0. It is quite a few light years away and is the closest region of massive star formation to Earth, as a mass about 2,000 times that of the Sun.
Those are impressive photos, I just have to say.
Absolutely.
So thank you everyone for tuning in to this month's episode of STARFLEET News Service. I'm Ensign Anne-Marie.
And I'm Lieutenant Jess.
But before we sign off, we're going to leave you with a little holiday song, Star Trek style. This comes courteous of Ryan's Edits on YouTube. And here is the 12 Days of Star Trek.
On the first day of
Christmas
Starfleet gave it to me.
NC-1701D.
On the second shaft of Christmas, Starfleet gave to me
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
on the third day of Christmas, Starfleet gave to me 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the fourth day of Christmas, Starfleet gave to me 4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the fifth day of conquest, Cardassian gave to me.
There are 5 likes
4 amusement centers, 3 starships, 2 Coma terrorists, and a single statue of me on Bajor.
On the
6th
day of
Christmas, Starfleet
gave to me 6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the 7th day of Christmas, Starfleet gave to me
7
synthetic beings,
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the 8th day of Christmas, Starfleet
Gave to me
8 commendations,
7
synthetic beings,
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
9th day of Christmas.
Starfleet gave to me
9 unimatrices.
8 commendations,
7
synthetic beings,
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the 10th day of
Christmas, Starfleet gave to me
what 10?
lizard babies,
9 unimatrices.
8 commendations,
7
synthetic beings,
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the 11th
Day of Christmas.
Starfleet gave to me
11 cargo bays. What 10?
lizard babies,
9 unimatrices.
8 commendations,
7
synthetic beings,
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 likes
4 working cells, 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers. NC-1701D.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Starfleet came to me.
12 CFI replicators. 11 cargo bays. Warp 10.
Lizard babies.
9 unimatrices.
8 commendations. 7 synthetic beings.
6 shuttlecraft.
There are 5 lives.
4 warp cells. 3 Cardassians.
2 engineers.
NCC 1701D.